What's good, people? What's good? So, we got something today. So, Job is beefing the Namibian, and you're wondering what happened. So, on Twitter, people are asking questions, and I'm here to provide some answers. So, the Namibian published this article saying that fat salaries for city bosses, the wage bill eats up budget, Windhoek budget. So, they're saying, and they also said that like Job is set to make 5k more a month, more than his predecessors, people that were mayors before him or whatever. So let me just break down how this all started. So Job and his people held this meeting with the media, people from newspapers and radio and all that, right? And then these two journalists from the Namibian, and apparently they were come at doxing and they missed the points Job and his people were trying to say. And they went on to go and write an article stating that Job is set to be paid a monthly allowance of more than $70,000, at least 5k more than his predecessors. So City of Windhoek comes out, and Job and his people, they come out saying this is cap. This is cap. The City of Windhoek responds to the Namibian newspaper article titled Fat Salaries for City Bosses. Wage bill eats up Windhoek budget. Blah, blah, like blah blah blah, you guys said this. And then we had a council meeting on 7 November that resolved that there will be no increments to the allowances of city councillors. Basically, they're saying in 2019, they already said that we are never going to increase the councillors' salaries. So they're saying that this whole thing is just a budget. So they had a budget, and they're saying that this is just project. Now, a really good question you'd have is, if you said that they will never increase, why are you budgeting for it in the first place? Like, why are you even setting up a budget for that goes above what you said is not going to happen? Now, I really like Jobs, so I'll try and be very unbiased in this, and I'll just lay down the facts as it is. Okay, we're back to the article itself. Why is Jobs pressed? Why is he heated? Because the article said that he is set to be paid 70k more than his predecessors. Which, if we look at it from a semantic standpoint, it is true. It's not cap. He is set to do that. He's projected to do that according to the budget. There's no cap about that. Just that the way that the Namibian are saying it, they're saying it as if it's fact in stone. While they have been told before that, in that meeting that they had, that it's not going to happen. So the Namibian is semantically right. They chose, according to the wording, they are right. But then they were told in advance, Nakucha, it's not going to happen. At that meeting, they were told it's not going to happen. Okay, just so that we're on the same page and we're clear, we're going to read this part together. We're going to read this part of what City of Windhoek published. They said, the council meeting of 7 November 2019, resolution 27011-2019, resolved that there would be no increments in the allowances of councillors. This position was further reconfirmed recently in a directive received from the Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Honorable Erastus Itoni, which advised a zero increment on councillors' allowances for the financial year as per approved. The numbers that you see here over here, the ones in the green, especially underlined, that's what has Jobs pressed, the misrepresentation of these numbers, because he's saying these are budgets, fam. They're not gonna go above it. These are budgets. What I want to see is the financial statements actually when they do come out, because that's the only way you can really tell the truth you check. But anyways, the Namibian went to go right on saying that these allowances, other expenditures for the municipality's employees will be funded by a proposed increment in residential electricity and household tariffs. Now, guys, this is a newspaper. They're careful with their words, okay? Don't forget that. And the picture that they're painting is that, oh my gosh, these poor people are going to be exploited with increased electricity tariffs to fund the city bosses' pockets and the City of Windhoek employees, you know. That's the picture that City of Windhoek and Jobs are mad about. But one thing they left out, the Namibian left out, is that the wages and salaries of the City of Windhoek employees actually decreased by more than 50 M's. Okay, now I did say that I like Jobs, you know, so I'm gonna be objective still, you know, just because I fuck with him doesn't mean I'm gonna come and try and make him look good or some shit like that. I'm gonna be objective about this. So anyways, breaking down the article the Namibian released further, it says that the municipality expects to record a deficit of 213 million for the current financial year. The city's expenditure is estimated to be at 4.9 billion and its income at 4.6 billion. Now this is the second part that has Jobs heated, okay? He's being like, why are you capping? If you look at things just as they are, it's cap. I went on the City of Windhoek website and I looked at the statements that they released. You can see it over there, the surplus is 213 million. Newspaper says it's a deficit of 230 million. Now I'm wondering, did they really just confuse the word deficit for surplus? But then when I went back, I saw that they further stated that the country had an expenditure of 4.9 billion and only an income of 4.6 billion. So it was no mistake. They said it twice, you know. City's losing money, feel me? So I got curious, how did they come about to this deficit amount? Because it's clearly not an accident. They did their math and their math made sense to them, you know. So I started crunching some numbers and I figured that the only two ways they could have gone was subtracting the capital expenditure from the surplus, which is almost like you're breaking a commandment in accounting. And I'm thinking, this is an establishment, a professional establishment. They're not going to do something like that. So that leaves the only one more option left, which is technically correct, which is to subtract the depreciation from the surplus in the operating budget. Now again, it is technically correct, but so yes, that's what they did. It's a newspaper, they're careful with their words, you feel me? So it's technically correct, but the problem is depreciation is a non-cash expenditure. You don't pay depreciation to nobody. Like City of Windhoek is not paying depreciation to some entity out there and they're losing money. It's more like setting money aside to replace your assets, because your assets are gonna get old and you have to replace them anyways, right? So that's why exclusively they indicated in those statements that they released that they excluded depreciation from the amount. City of Windhoek added it back in. That's where their beef is, because they're trying to make men look bad, you know. They're trying to make the financial statements they're trying to make shit look worse than it not actually is. Ah man, you have to pick your words careful, because like, to be honest, they didn't do too much wrong except for try to paint a picture that they're a newspaper, man. At the end of the day, they're trying to paint a picture that would make you pick up the newspaper. That's it. That's simple.